What's up, everybody? Welcome back. This is going to be part 2 of the 59 CJ-5 teardown. We're going to start off, we're going to remove the steering box and the whole steering system. That'll give me a little bit more room to get the master cylinder out. And then we're going to remove this snowplow bracketry that was added on. Then I'm going to go ahead and cut the U-bolts off, take the springs out, take the axles out. Same thing goes with the rear. So let's get started. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is take off the drag link. You got a cotter pin here and then the square plug, not a square plug, just round plug here. That's just going to make it easier to get the drag link off if it's stuck. You know, I could just hit it with a hammer and have something solid while the steering box is mounted. So that's just a cotter pin. And it's going to be the same exact step for the front side of the drag link. That actually came out nice. Normally they're pretty stuck on there. We're just going to loosen it some, and it should come right off. We shouldn't have to take the plug all the way out. And we might have to on this one. Go grab a hammer. Alright, so what we're going to have to do is I'm going to put the steering wheel back on the column and just move the pitman arm back a little bit, and that should release it from the groove since that isn't working. Alright, so I'm just going to, there we go, it should be free right there. There we go. That easy. And looking at this pitman arm, it looks good. It looks like it doesn't have a lot of miles on it. Like the rest of the stuff I've been seeing, everything seems to be pretty low mileage. So that's good. I'm going to reposition the camera and show you the rest of it. So the next thing we're going to remove is the steering column. You got this little clamp here that clamps it onto the top portion of the steering box. Then you're going to have a spring here. I already removed it, and then the nut. Then you also have a upper column bearing. Most of the time these are missing, and this one's still intact and still seems pretty tight and no issues. So we could probably get away with just reusing that because they're pretty hard to find. Alright, so I got the clamp loose here. I'm going to try to bring it up a little bit, get it out of the way. And off camera here, you probably can't see it, but the tube is split on purpose to have it expand over the top of the gearbox. So we can get it free up a little bit. I have my pry bar somewhere. There it is. to get a different prop bar. The end got broke trying to change the tires on the deuce. And I haven't got it replaced yet, so I got to get my other prop bar. There we go. Yeah, it's not wanting to, there's not enough space in it yet. I'm going to try this chisel here. Got to move a little bit. There we go. All right, get the column out. All right, so we're skipping around a little bit camera-wise, but the next thing is going to be the pitman arm. It's going to be a 15/16 nut. Now, might have to use the impact, but nope, this one is good. Just a nut and a lock washer. And you don't need a special puller or anything, just a pickle fork should do it. Except my pickle fork's not fitting. Well, that sucks. Stand by, let me go look for another pickle fork. Alright, so I don't have another pickle fork. I thought I did. I'm just going to use this pitman arm puller. Use the pitman arm / tie rod puller. There we go. Alright. There's our pitman arm. It looks like the seal's gone. Normally there's a double lip seal that goes around here. We'll go over that when it's time to rebuild the box. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the side cover. You don't have to. You know, you can pull it off with the whole worm gear shaft and everything. But we're going to go ahead and separate the worm gear shaft from the case, and we'll just have a bare case. Should just come off with some hammer taps. Oh, it's got oil in it. Alright. That's one thing I was gonna wait till later to mention, but 9 times out of 10 it's missing the plug and it has a grease fitting. They're supposed to take gear oil, not grease. Every Jeep I've seen has a dang grease fitting on it, and the box is full of grease. All that grease does is disperse the clearance between the worm shaft and the sector shaft, which I'll show you here in a second when we get this cover off. Oh yeah, that's some old oil. So here you can see the adjuster that adjusts your tightness on your sector shaft here. If your steering's a little loose, you want to tighten it up a little bit. We'll go over that when the time comes to rebuild this. So to remove the sector shaft, you're just gonna push it through. Wow, this looks really good. Looks almost brand new. Now I have to talk to the owner because there's been some issues with the new reproduction ones. Quality issues with the metal being real soft, and also new production worm gears with the actual worm shaft stripping out. So this might be a reuse. Still got all the bearings in it, so it's pretty good. It's good news. Alright, so moving on, we're going to remove the bearing retainer. There's 2 roller bearings in here, an upper and a lower, and that's what's going to have us remove the worm shaft. And also we got to make sure we don't lose track of the shims as well. Oh, I forgot there's a snap ring that holds in that top bearing. Forgot all about that. This is the first pretty much all original untouched Jeep besides the snowplow that I've done, and I've never had to remove the snap ring because they're always missing. So alright, let me get some pliers to get that off. Alright, I'm going to try it with these channel locks. I got a whole snap ring set, but it's put away right now and buried, and I'm going to try to see if I can get lucky with just the channel locks. Probably not. Try one more time. One more time. Alright. There we go. So all the ball bearings came out of the race. It's no big deal. Those are going to get replaced. Here, I'm going to put that in the camera so you can see. But yeah, all it is a stack of ball bearings that go in the retainer that ride on the worm shaft. Same thing goes with the lower ones. These are still in it. Alright, so another thing this box has that's missing on every single one I've seen is the tube for the horn wire. So the horns on these, the wire would run through the steering column and the worm shaft, go through the box, and then out the bottom of it and be oil sealed. This one still has it, and that's probably why it held oil, because it's still got a full seal on it. When they're missing, when this tube breaks off, you got a hole and all the oil leaks out. So that's another cool find. Alright, so now we're going to remove the steering box completely. It's going to be 3 5/8 head bolts with nuts on the other side. These bolts are just going to get tossed. Put new ones in. Just a safety thing, but still be good to have extra on hand. They're fine thread. There's a lot of fine thread stuff on these. And this one's stuck in the, there we go. All right, one more. All right, so there you have it. The messy, oily steering box. Alright, so next thing we're going to do, we're just going to go ahead and remove the tie rod and the bell crank assembly all as one. So you got a little tension bolt here. We're going to remove that, and then we got the bolt that retains it. Alright, so you got the gas on it off this tie rod here. Normally, if you got to reuse a tie rod, you don't hit it from the top, but these are junk. All the steering components are getting replaced. There we go. Alright, so now it's out of the way. We're going to go ahead and get the bell crank out. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and take the main bolt out. I couldn't get a socket on the other end. I think it's all rounded out, so we're going to see if we can just get the nut to come off. Oh, got lucky. Alright. Good deal. Now we're going to go ahead and take the clamp bolt. Alright. Alright. Let's Alright, so since I'm taking now as an assembly, it's getting a little bound up. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get the bolt out while leaving the bell crank arm on. There we go. Alright, so we got it out to the whole assembly. Next thing we're gonna do, I'm gonna take the snowplow bracket setup off. It's gonna be pretty straightforward. I'm probably not gonna film it to save time. You know, it's just, it doesn't pertain to all Jeeps. Alright, so I got all the snowplow bracketry off, so now we got what a stock Jeep suspension setup would look like. I had to remove the passenger side shock to get to the bracket that mounted the leaf spring. I still got the driver's side shock on. I got lucky with both sides. The nuts came right off and no issues. No stripping, nothing like that. So that's a real pleasant surprise. So I got the jack under the axle here because, excuse me, I'm sure when I take the shock off, the spring's gonna collapse a little bit. So I got that, and then I got jack stands underneath the axle. Got them set pretty low. So after we remove the shock, we're gonna go ahead and take out the leaf spring hanger bolts. I'm gonna drop it down one side at a time, and then put the axle on the ground, slide it out of the way, leave it as an assembly with the springs. Do the same thing to the rear. We'll go through that too. Maybe, I don't know, because it's going to be the exact same setup. I'm just trying to keep the boringness down. So we'll probably just do the front on film, and it's going to be the exact same process. So once I have it on the ground and out of the frame, I'll go ahead and just cut the U-bolts. They're junk anyway. Cut them with the cutoff wheel. Separate the leaf spring packs. They're junk. You know, get rid of those. So then I'll have the bare axle on the jack stands. That way I'll be able to, you know, start rebuilding it when the time comes. The main focus after doing this teardown is going to be on the frame. Once the frame's 100% and, you know, I get the suspension on, I'm going to mock up the springs because I got to do a lot of modification and fabrication to the rear portion of the frame. Once I know everything's square and, you know, good to go, we'll start rebuilding the axles. So that way we're going to build it from the ground up, basically. So, all right, let me go set up the camera on the stand. And look out. Hit the camera stand there. Let me reposition it. All right, hopefully that's level for everybody. Yeah, that should be all right. All right, so next thing we're going to do, I'm going to go ahead and take the spring perch bolts out. You can see it all the way over here on the right side. There we go. Yeah, it's a pretty tight one. Alright, so what that bolt sees in there, I'm using my Ingersoll 1050 breakaway torque impact. It's not moving the bolt, but I got the nut to break loose with just a wrench, so I'm going to go ahead and put that on the other end. Got it off. Alright, so then we'll just have to beat it through the other side, which was expected. I was prepared to just cut the leaf springs out entirely, but on second look it looked like it was going to be okay. So now we're going to do the front. I'm going to do the lower. Alright, so there's press strut off finally. I'm going to go ahead and take the BFH. See if it'll move any. Yeah, it's moving a little bit. Knocking all the rust and dirt on the ground. Once I get this thing stripped down to a bare frame, it's going to be a lot of cleanup. Yeah, it's still not wanting to spin. I'm going to put a little bit more tension on the jack, see if I can. There we go. You guys are watching me struggle a little bit. Doesn't always go smoothly. There we go. We'll go ahead and use the punch the rest of the way. Just got a big punch. Alright, let's go ahead and use a scrap bolt. Take us the rest of the way. That one's too big. Let's try to spin it some more. There we go. Alright, got that one out. Dang, that one's not wanting to move at all. There we go. Thought it was. Alright, so I had to do a plan B. I managed to get the top one to move. Go ahead and get the punch. So you can use a smaller punch, but I'm going to do what I did on the other one again. There we go. All right, so this side's free. All right, so I got it out. It's the exact same process on the other side. Here it is. So, like I said, I forgot to film it. You know, I'm trying to do a better job of trying to film everything. But like I explained earlier, I got it down one side at a time. Dropped that jack down. The axle was pretty balanced, being off. If you offset it about right here, it balances pretty good. Loaded on the jack stands. I had the jack stands pretty much all the way down. Then just tripped it all, held it by the end of the front of the leaf springs, put it, and then took them off the jack stands by just letting it fall. You're not going to break it. It's super tough. And then just slid it out of the way. So now what I'm going to do is just cut the U-bolts off. They're junk. Instead of trying to fight with those nuts, just cut them off. Then I'll just pick up the axle, put it on jack stands, one on each side, put it off to the side. I got to clear off. I got to put a lot of this stuff away. I haven't put a lot of the parts away in storage yet. I'm just trying to get this thing down to a bare frame, and take that as a major step, The process is going to be exactly the same on the rear as I showed you on the front. I'm going to go ahead and just do the rear off camera. There's really no sense in showing you because, like I said, it's exactly the same. The only difference is the leaf springs collapsed, broken, and the U-bolts are broken on this one. So it should still fall and cradle in the leaf springs like the front did. If it fights me, I'll put it on camera and try to explain what I did. But all right, well, let me get this rear axle out and I'll check in. All right, so the rear axle's out. So now you can see we got a bare frame. The only thing I got left is a master cylinder and the brake and clutch pedal. And then we got us a bare frame. So it's just going to be these two 3/8 bolts that hold on the master cylinder. You're going to remove the plate, remove the cotter pin. Then there'll be a clamp bolt on the brake and a clamp bolt on the clutch. Pedals will come off, and then you're left with your cross tube in here. It's riveted to the frame. So when I'm doing the framework, I'm going to remove those rivets to get all that rust out, and we'll just bolt it back up. Alright, so I got the frame drug out. I'm going to put it on sawhorses tomorrow, losing daylight out here, and start on the process of getting the rust off and assessing the frame. Just did a quick sweeping of the shop. Go ahead and cut the leaf springs off the axles. There's nothing special to that. I'm not going to film that. Same thing with the front axle. Get them on jack stands. Get the transmission transfer case assembly off to the side. Put the engine crane away. I'm not going to need it for a while. And the next video I do is going to be on the frame and getting that all cleaned up and strong again. So if you can, follow along, like and subscribe. Stay tuned.